The Zuck from Facebook is in some trouble with Congress. The Stormy Daniels story still lingers, and I'm going to talk about that for my missed episodes. I'll also explain why I missed some episodes. And what else is going on? Trump is finding a new way to deal with our border problem. We're going to talk about that. And Syria. There's some bad stuff that's gone on in Syria that I'm going to talk about too. What should we do about that? I'm going to discuss this all today. And as I say every week, my name is Jason Riley, and this is the Riley Report. Okay, so I'm going to get straight up with the Zuck story. Mark Zuckerberg, I think today, I haven't heard too much about what went on there, but today he testified before Congress. So I'm going to explain what's going on here. So Mark Zuckerberg, there's this huge scandal going on with Facebook that basically they release everybody knows this, or at least most people know this. Facebook is free because you are paying Facebook with your information. A lot of people already knew this. Facebook takes your information, sells it to advertisers, and then advertisers will specifically target you if you like something. Like if you are gay and you like cruises, and if you put information in your Google search or something like that, if you have something up on your face, if you have a rainbow flag on your Facebook, and then you also are talking about how much you wanted to go on a cruise on your Facebook, and then you might see an ad for a gay cruise. That's kind of how that's worked. So, basically the question is, does Facebook have a right to do this? And I'm going to talk about my problems and with this and what I think should happen. So my first thought is basically that you are signing up to Facebook, and I believe it is I haven't read the terms and conditions. I don't think anybody has, except for the person who wrote them. The entirety of them, at least. No one person has probably read the entirety of them. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg before testifying, but this whole thing is probably in the terms and conditions that you're giving your information to them. Also, I think it's important for all internet users to know that no matter where you put something, if you put something anywhere on the internet, it is out there in some way, shape, or form. And then I think that realization needs to be for people. And then if you don't want something out there, you don't put it out there. That needs to be something important taught in schools, just like how you need to stay drug-free, etc. So I think that's important for a lot of people to know that once you put something out there, it's out there and it could go wherever the internet wants to put it. And so as I was listening to the radio on the way home, I did hear Mark Zuckerberg, a little clip from Mark Zuckerberg testifying. He talks about the very first line of the question that he was asked is basically, I think it was something along the lines of, are the people in control of their private information? And he said the first line of their terms and conditions is that you have full control over your privacy and your information, which I think that is false. If Facebook literally owns you and your information and can sell it everywhere if you're part of Facebook. So again, I haven't yet kind of answered this question. This is all about answering the question, should Congress put in legislation that limits and puts regulations on how social media such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat can use your information, your data, and if it would be legal for them to spread it out there. And so my answer of what they think they should do, I do not. For me, I'm just now really thinking about how I want to answer this. I think that it shouldn't be exactly legislation. That it should be that these companies can do whatever I do think that these companies should be able to do what they want with your information, because I think that the people need to be in control of what they put out there, and people need to think about what they're putting out there, and people need to realize what's going on here. Now, it would be difficult, but it would be kind of nice and funny to see a competition of Facebook or social media of some sort kind of rise up and kind of compete with Facebook to be and ensure that their information isn't going anywhere. But on the downside, you would probably have to pay for that app, pay for that social media, and that's what everybody's doing. Once they're like, we don't want this to happen with our information, but once you're like, okay, fine, you have to pay for the app. They're like, oh, wait a minute, because everybody thinks they're not. Everybody doesn't feel like they're directly impacted or directly paying for Facebook. They just have to see a few ads every once in a while on their feed. And I'm not entirely sure how Facebook works. I do not personally have a Facebook, but that is that's what's going on there. So think what you want, but I think that's my thoughts on it. And I think that, but I guess the question is also that do they have a right to your information? You might ask, and I think if you're giving it to them, yes. If you agree to their terms and conditions, which probably include them giving it to advertisers, then yes, I think they do, because I think when you sign up, you are giving them the right to do this. And that's kind of how it works. You're stuck doing that if you want a Facebook, and I think that's quite unfortunate. But should the government get involved and see and regulate how much information? Probably not. That's kind of my take on this, and I've heard very limited opinions on what's going on with that. So, I completely forgot at the beginning to explain where I've been. So, this last 2 weeks, I was on spring break, and I did mention in the last episode I made that I'm gonna I said I might take the next week off, and then I ended up taking 2, but I kind of enjoyed it being away from it. But then stories added up, and I'm like, yep, definitely going back Monday. And then my grandmother unexpectedly passed away, and the funeral was on Monday, which was yesterday. So then I'm doing it on Tuesday, putting up Tuesday. That works anyway. So now, next, we're going to talk about Stormy Daniels. So this whole idea that Stormy Daniels is some sort of victim. Well, first I'm going to explain what's going on. So Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump had consensual sex, but Donald Trump was married at the time, and before the election, Donald Trump's lawyers had paid Stormy Daniels to stay hush-hush about the whole affair, and she did, and she took money to do that, and then now she's kind of opening her mouth about it, basically. So a lot of people have huge problems with this and are trying to use this as a club to beat Trump supporters or Trump in general to kind of be like, well, your president sucks because he did this. Well, here's a bit of there's 2 things about that. One, you can't do that without also saying Bill Clinton was in the wrong, and also, we did not elect him to be our pastor or priest. We elected him to be our president. We liked his decision. Now I'm not at all suggesting that our president that we elect shouldn't have moral values. I'm not saying that. That we shouldn't just completely disregard their morality. But what I'm saying is that you can't use this. I don't think you should be able to use this as a club to beat Trump supporters, because most of them probably don't like his behavior either. Most of them probably don't like that either about him. But what they liked about him was his policies that he fought for and things that he's done so far. So I don't think it's really right to do that. And it's really his personal life if he had consensual sex with somebody else. But the thing is that he is lying about it. He is coming out. I mean, I think it's very clear that this happened. He's trying to completely pretend this didn't happen. Oh no, this never happened. I don't think he should be doing that. It's not making him exactly look good. It's not making him look like an honest person, which is being very effective. You can say that bad about him. You can go ahead and be my guest, say he's lying about it. That's not good about him, and that's not good as a president about him. It's not. But this, I think he should be like, look, made a mistake, and then apologize, but just be straight up and honest with everybody, and because that's kind of, as Americans, what we deserve from our president. So there's that, and the proof that Stormy Daniels isn't some sort of victim, also that I mentioned earlier, is that she literally said she doesn't want to be a victim. People are trying to put her with the Me Too thing, the Time's Up thing. I think that's ridiculous. She literally came out and said, I am not part of this Me Too thing. I'm not going to be part of this because I am not a victim. I had consensual sex with him is what she is saying. And she took the money. That's she cared about the money. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about that. I don't know how you can say what some people are saying about it, which is that Trump is an awful president because of this. He's just dishonest and pretty immoral. And I disagree with his behavior, but I don't disagree with a lot of his policies. Anyway, that's my take on that situation. Moving on to number 3. Trump is decided to take another approach to the whole southern border problem, and he is deciding to move National Guard troops to our border. So, is it unconstitutional, is what I'm hearing some people ask? No. It is unconstitutional to move, say, members of the Army to the southern border, or the Navy, or deploy troops from those branches. But the National Guard can be moved there. It happened under the first Bush, I think. I don't remember. I'm sorry. Who did this previously? But what do I think about it? Is it right? Is it wrong? Well, I think I don't think there's anything wrong about it. Do I think it's necessary is the question. I think it's over the top. I think I would say you're being over the top with it. It's too much. But I mean, right now, I think it's just I think he's doing this just to make a statement that, like, this is important and that he's not going to back down from letting it go unsecured. But I will tell you this. There are actually militias, like people who, like, former police, former ex-military guys who get together with the best kind of gear they can get. They wear they'll wear military grade gear, and they'll go out to the border with their AR-15s, legal AR-15s, and kind of watch the border and stay on our side and kind of watch and then try to get it and defend our country from people trying to get in illegally and drug cartels trying to bring drugs in our country. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's beautiful. That is really good of them to be doing. I'm glad we have people like that who are spending their time dedicating to things like that. That is such a good thing. But moving National Guard, it's over the top, but it is, I think it's just to make a point. I think it's just a point for Trump to make. I think he's just doing it for that reasons. And what's the last thing that I wanted to talk about? Syria. So, I think his name is Assad. He's an awful person, dictator, who has chemically attacked his civilians again. His rebels, last time he did it, we launched Tomahawk missiles at one of his Air Force bases, and then that was it. Nothing really happened after that, but he did the chemical attacks again against his rebellious, brave civilians. And are we going to do something about it again? It is likely. UK, France have said they will work with the US to try to do something about it within days. Trump has said that he'll do something about it within the next 24 to 48 hours. Will it be a military strike? Probably. I think they're going to launch their more Tomahawk cruise missiles again at another target, probably a bigger target. I think that what I think should be done is I think military action should be taken because this is unacceptable. This guy is terrible. We should be escalating in reaction force after he does something like this. So when he did it the first time, we shot Tomahawk cruise missiles at one of his Air Force bases. Now we should be hitting a bigger target. We should be doing more. And that's what I think should be going on, and that's what is going on. Because it's unacceptable, and we did it once. We should be defending the freedom of everybody throughout the world, because as JFK said about the Vietnam War, I forget the direct quote. I'm really upset. I forget the direct quote, but it's something around a loss of freedom somewhere is a loss of freedom everywhere. And I think that's a good quote, whatever that one, the actual quote is. I think that's true every day for around the world. We need to have as much freedom in our world as possible. And that's what I do. That's what I fight for all the time. And so that kind of concludes this episode in today's today's news, and actually the past few weeks worth of news in a quick nutshell, all the biggest highlights, everything. And so I'm going to finish today and get some more things done. My name is Jason Riley, and this is The Riley Report.